Alright, and welcome back to Mark Jr. Reacts, and today we will be discussing, not reacting, to My Hero Academia Vigilantes Episode 2 Takeoff, because I failed to capture the audio. It was a complete blunder on my part, and so instead we're just going to discuss it. I'm just going to, because I have it now, so what I'm going to do is for this, I'm just going to like discuss parts that show up, just like hey, put them on screen so you can see it. This is the best I can do. So let's just get it. Okay, we're just gonna discuss episode 2. I appreciate how we see Eraserhead and Knuckle Duster go toe-to-toe in the actual an actual fight, because it's actually incredibly, it looks cool visually, but it's also a hero versus vigilante, obviously, but then it's also a quirk versus someone who doesn't use a quirk. As we learn, Knuckle Duster does not use a quirk at all. So he's just an incredibly buff, incredibly strong man, and Eraserhead can't arrest him because he's done nothing wrong with his quirk, which I think is I don't know, that law feels a little weird. But yeah, we see that, and then we see, as the fight progressing, we see Koichi and Popstep go after the suit guy, the guy in the suit, the businessman, because it turns out he's been spotted at almost every pop-up instant villain scene recently. So Popstep's like, okay, let's go after him. He's very dangerous. He could be dangerous. He might know more information than we need. He might know what we need. So they go after him. He gets away temporarily because those three dudes that we see in the last episode who were offered Trigger, we see them show up, and they use their quirks that have been boosted by Trigger to go after Koichi. And Popstep goes after the businessman. And all throughout this, Eraserhead and Knuckle Duster are still going at it. Knuckle Duster's taking a beating, man, doing well taking that beating. And he barely landed any significant hits on Eraserhead, which I don't blame him. I'm not surprised by, because it's Eraserhead. He's awesome. And throughout this whole episode, during my reaction, I was incredibly excited seeing Eraserhead like run around and stuff. That was just so cool. Not run around, seeing him like fight and do all that, because we didn't get to see him do that a lot in the main series in My Hero Academia. Or we did see him do stuff, but we never saw him like go like jumping around in the air from like a tree to there. And the way they animated him doing this quirk, really cool. And then as Koichi and Popstep go after their respective targets, Eraserhead stops fighting Knuckle Duster because he realizes that he can't arrest Knuckle Duster because Knuckle Duster is not using a quirk. He's not misusing a quirk. And then they hear a scream. Then it cuts to Koichi running into a group of civilians, a populated area, followed by two very dangerous right now. And I also made the comment in the reaction, why did he go towards the people and not away? Like, I feel like someone's first, like this kind of guy, I feel like his first instinct would be to go away that's not where a bunch of people are. So I digress. We see that happen, and then we see Knuckle Duster show up as Koichi's about to get hit or something. Knuckle Duster shows up, hits the big guy in the head with a brick, in the back of the head with a brick. Then he chucks the remaining piece of the brick that he has at the porcupine spike guy, who gets hit. And Knuckle Duster is a strong guy, but I don't think Knuckle Duster, who, mind you, is not using a quirk apparently, I don't think his throw should be enough to send the guy flying, because he sent the dude that got hit with the like remaining piece of the brick that he threw at him. He got sent flying quite a few feet back. I don't think that should happen. Obviously, it's anime, it's My Hero Academia, I get it. I just don't think that should happen. And then Eraserhead shows up as Koichi and Knuckle Duster go after businessman who Popstep is following. And Eraserhead shows up, captures the bike guy in his capture claw, which is really cool to see. And then he just arrests him, I guess, or ties him up or whatever. And Popstep gets knocked out of the sky by the flying instant villain, and she's sent flying into the businessman, who we see not drop his figures, his briefcase with figures in them, who then shows his tongue which is black. And then we see his eyes that are really red, and it's incredibly creepy. And honestly, it might be the thumbnail or one of the thumbnails that I go through for the video. And then we see him take off the head of the one of the figures and inject himself with Trigger. Now, I thought the figures were going to be like a Pez dispenser, but for pills. With my full chest, I said, I think it's going to be a pill dispenser. I was wrong. It was not. I think a pill dispenser will be a lot funnier, more comedic, and we see him boost his quirk, which is called Playtime. We don't actually know what that does, just that's called Playtime. And he gets big. Like, big. And it's incredibly creepy with how he looks. And he starts playing around, playing stuff, throwing stuff, hitting stuff. And Knuckle Duster comes in, swinging, by the way. Don't remember, we actually don't see how he's swinging, just say he's swinging something. And he just whams right into the dude's head. The giant guy's head. And sends him flying. Not flying, sends him down. And then we see him drop Popstep, who's falling. And Koichi realizes, hey, her quirk is leap. He has nothing to leap off of. So he starts sliding towards her. And he jumps, lands on the wall of a building, and then starts sliding up it. And then he leaps off, and it's actually kind of cool. He leaps off and he catches her, which is actually a really cool scene to see. And that also might be one of the thumbnails I use. I don't know yet, but he catches her. He gives her a boost that she can leap off of, and then he falls. And it's incredibly dramatic. As he's falling, big guy comes in with his hand, intending to, I'm guessing, like splat him like a fly or an ant or something. And Koichi uses his quirk and manages to slide off and away into a pile of trash, because a pile of trash just happened to be there, and it's a very good cushion according to Knuckle Duster. And then as he's about to get stomped on, literally stomped on, Eraserhead shows up. His eyes go red, hair goes up. He uses his quirk and erases the big guy's quirk, and the big guy shrinks a lot. And he does a really cool capture scene with his scarf and says erase a gigantification quirk, and of course he'll shrink. A two-liner, and he says it's only rational to capture him because that's his thing. He's rational and logical. And then that's the end of that. And then he says, as Knuckle Duster's walking away down a dark alley, he says, for what it's worth, I appreciate your help. And then Knuckle Duster just says he's a concerned citizen too, because that's what Eraserhead said. He said he's not on duty right now at the beginning, and that he's here just as a concerned citizen. Then Knuckle Duster explains how he's doing things that pro heroes can't do. And he basically starts talking about how they can beat up the people before they commit crimes or villainy or whatever. And then the Eraserhead says that Knuckle Duster has some serious character flaws. Incredibly funny. And that he gets told that a lot. And then Knuckle Duster says he gets told that a lot. And then he just walks away into the dark. And then we get to Koichi and Popstep having a little talk. Then Popstep complains to him about what's annoying about him. And it's how he nitpicks every little thing that he does. He picks apart every little thing. He's both hyper aware and hyperly self-critical. And that's annoying to her. Which, fair. That's very fair. And she was gonna thank him, but not when he's annoying. And she's blushing when she says it. Which could mean anything, honestly, at this point. And then we see Knuckle Duster show up and say stuff like, you have the makings of a hero. Stuff like that. And and then Koichi says he's not Knuckle Duster's apprentice, but then Knuckle Duster says, hey, you called me master during that fight. And then Knuckle Duster says, all the more reason then. And then he says, whatever slips out, whatever you say or do in the moment, that's the real you. And he's not wrong. Because in the moment, there's no time to formulate, hey, how should I respond? Things like that. So that's the real you. It's similar to like fight or flight. In that moment, if you run, you use someone who runs away. But if you fight, you're a fighter. There's nothing to think about. It's just instinct. It just happens. And Knuckle Duster, and unironically, I think Knuckle Duster always has a lot of good points, even if a lot of them involve beating up villains or criminals. And we see a really cool intro scene, not intro scene, middle of the episode thing. I like it. I like the design. It's creative. And then we see we cut to a different scene where a Pop Step says, "Hey, there's a fight going on between two guys who she thinks are high schoolers. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. They're wearing school. She says they're wearing school uniforms, so maybe they're in high school. But then they say, one of them asks, "What middle school are you from?" So they're actually in middle school, even though they look like high schoolers. Well, actually, in my opinion, they look like college students, but that's anime for you, isn't it? And then we cut to a scene where Knuckle Duster says, "Hey, I got something you'll like." And he says it's protective gear for bikers and body armor to wear beneath the hoodie, which is smart, really smart. And it looks cool. And he makes an entrance to the two middle schoolers fighting, but then he fails, of course. And he goes flying into another pile of trash. And then we learned that he has a new name he came up with. And it's incredibly cringy. And he says they call me, with a really cringy pose, the man with the air of mystery, the Crawler. And that's incredibly cringy. The name itself is fine, but everything he does to accentuate it and express it, it's just incredibly cringy to me. And they think that he said a crawler, which I think is like a snack or something. A pastry, I'm not sure. Oh, and they also think that he's a nice guy, because that used to be his name, but he changed it. And he says, "Stop fighting. Violence is no good." I think he's pushing his luck in this fight way too much. And he gets double teamed. It's double teamed. They just punch him, kick him, stuff like that, the usual, until Knuckle Duster comes in and he's about to punch them. But Koichi stops him because there's no need to hit him, he says. And Koichi asks, "Why do you always leave with that?" And then Knuckle Duster says, "Hitting first is faster and it gets results." Which, I mean, it does. Most importantly, it makes him feel better. I mean, fair enough, I guess. Koichi, of course, says you can't hit people for the sake of feeling better. And then this really funny scene when Knuckle Duster just asks, "Why not?" He looks so like, I can't tell if he looks depressed or if he just looks so confused as to why he can't punch people to make himself feel better. And then Pop Step shows up, because of course she does. She jumps down, I mean. And they know who she is, apparently. And they say they give her likes, they watch her videos, and then she offers an autograph. She gives them an autograph. And then this time, an actual villain shows up. A guy who's very tough, very solid, and he calls himself invincible. He's harder than any building, apparently. And a baby goes flying, and Koichi saves it because he's a nice guy. That's what he does. He saves babies. And then a fight goes down between Knuckle Duster and the villain, who's very strong. Fight goes down between the villain, who's really strong, who sticks out his tongue and sees it's black. And he uses he's an innocent villain. He uses Trigger. And then we see them go 2-on-1. And then Pop Step explains to the two middle schoolers why the villain's so strong, what the villain's quirk is and all that. And they fight. They double team him. They actually have a really cool double team, which is something I commented on in the reaction about how they like team up, how they take him to the ground, and then he just rains down punches on him, because Knuckle Duster, that's what he does. He punches a lot of people. We learned that what he looks like, kind of, but Knuckle Duster hit him too much, so it's a lot harder. The mother with the baby thanks Pop Step for saving her baby. Well, thanks to group, really, I think. And then Pops Up makes the baby laugh because apparently she's good at that. Then the police come and they have to split. And then we get to see the final scene before the ending, which is the police talking about the villain being beaten up, how he was found. He used a trigger. He got beaten up, and we get to see the characters, who are two characters I really like. Detective Sukauchi and Officer Sansa. Or I don't know if he's a detective yet, but really cool. We see him in the originals in the main series. They're cool. And then we see Sansa. They ask what hero dealt with it, and there are no reports of hero dispatches. So they then Sukauchi says they must be vigilantes, unauthorized illegal heroes, and all serious like that when he says it. Then Sansa says, well, whoever they are, it's fine in the end if they defeated a villain for us. He's not wrong. But then Sukauchi's like, whoa, be careful what you say. They're still criminals. They broke the law. He says, we have laws for a reason. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with a villain or not. Taking the law into one's own hands is a crime. And he's not wrong. Like, he's not wrong at all. It is a crime. But that's also like the police in him saying that. Really. Oh, it could be him, like, in general thinking that. But I think Sansa's more right. They did do him a favor. Did do them a favor by taking the guy out. Then we see, oh, not the final. This is the final scene. They're talking about what happened because Pops Up's chronically online. She's chronically online, so she sees that there's a chatter online, and and she says everyone's calling them the Freaky Fist Grandpa and the Crueler, which is incredibly funny. And Knuckleduster doesn't seem too bothered by it, but Koichi's not happy about that. And then he screams out, the Crawler, it's the Crawler, because that's his name. And then we hit the ED, and I think that was overall, I think it was a good episode. Like I know I didn't say it because the reaction, I don't have the reaction, but I think it was a really good episode. I honestly enjoyed it a lot because we get to see more. We get to see more build up to the characters, to the world itself, and of course we get to see Eraserhead because he's Eraserhead. He's awesome. And overall, I really like the episode. I do like we get to see more of the dichotomy between heroes and vigilantes in the police. And I think this could I think My Hero Academia Vigilantes could be way higher in my favorites list than even like the first 2 or 3 seasons of My Hero Academia. Maybe. If they keep this up. Just might. Which is incredibly hard to do because season 1 of My Hero Academia is one of my favorites of all time, and then season 3 also is like really good. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this episode overall. And I think with that, I'm gonna wrap everything up here. Now, thank you all for watching because this went differently than I would have preferred. It was a complete blunder on my part. I made that I will hopefully not make again because I really enjoyed my initial reaction to it. Now, I will be uploading this unedited, of course, to the Patreon. But yeah, that's it. If you'd like to see this video full length, unfiltered, uncut, as well as exclusive reactions never before seen anywhere else, check out the Patreon, link in the description. I'm currently reacting to Sword of the Demon Hunter and From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordman. Both anime are really good, and I hope you check out my reactions, but it's totally cool if you don't. Just check out the Patreon, link in the description. And of course, my name is Mark Jr., and as always, never stop being yourself, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.